Tune gets me going, boys. Here we go. Another week, and we are back in action. Look at the squad, looking bigger and beautifuler. That's a word I made up. AEZ in the house, the Canadian faction. We are here. Let's get the intros out of the way. The Prince of Production, Connor McHaven. How are you, brother?
I'm doing pretty good.
Throw it over for the voluptuous Ramundo. Tell me what's going on, Justin.
So, it's been a big week. There's been a lot of news. I just want to throw a shout out to both being the opening week of football and Impact 1000. I just want to put a shout out to my favorite Buffalo Bill of all time, Monty Brown.
Nice. He put 5 days of work into that intro. I love it. We got the ooh-rah, the wrestling guy, Zach.
If we're letting out wrestler/football player introductions, I just want to give a shout out to my favorite Carolina Panther / Pittsburgh Steeler, Kevin Green.
Keep pounding. We move it over to the big man in the middle. It's Tank Gee.
Oh, what's going on, everybody?
Now, as I jump out of order, I'm going to throw it on all the way down to Maddie. What's going on, G-Man?
Hey, boys. What's happening?
Happy
to be here again.
Now we're going to jump right in. There's the Breezes himself. What's going on, Breezy?
Guess who's back? Breezy's back. Sorry I missed the eulogy, boys, but maybe that was for the best. My favorite wrestler/football player, let's give a shout out to Mongo.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my finger in the air for the greatest Edmonton Elk of all time, Mr. Roman Reigns. Now, the last man, the man sitting over here in the walking weapon camo. You go to India and Ontario, Quebec, Halifax, it doesn't matter, coast to coast. He is the man with the most, sitting front rows. This is ringside with chops in the house.
Yes, and I still don't know what day it is because I'm still tired from the weekend.
This is what we're going to start with, a new little segment called Ringside with Chops. As Chops goes on this amazing journey every weekend that we are all so jealous of, check out his Instagram and follow him. The journey continues. This weekend, when did it start? And tell us the journey.
So I woke up at Friday, 3 a.m. To catch the flight. I had to go to Pearson. We flew to Halifax, landed 10 o'clock in the morning, went to a wrestling show.
We pause there because I want to talk about the show itself. Now, this was Halifax on the north, or no, it would have been Dartmouth. No,
it was downtown Halifax.
Okay,
that's what it's called, downtown wrestling at the Toothy Moose.
Yes,
the Toothy Moose.
The Toothy Moose, actually owned by the Trailer Park Boys, originally opened.
Yeah. So they have
Really?
Yeah. So they have a cabaret downstairs and they have the wrestling upstairs. Hanging that ring all the way up the stairs. It's just that's it, And then it's just a small little area, maybe fits 100 people, but it gets loud and crazy.
The thing I love about the Toofy is this is a bar that stays open till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So when I was working in Halifax, we were doing sewer construction late nights, and we had our days off. We had to make the most of it. So we would start at 6 and go until 4 and always end at the Toofy.
No, it's great, man. It's a great atmosphere. And then had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to catch the flight to Vancouver. So we went from Halifax to Vancouver.
So for our American audience, Halifax, East Coast, very tip, only one province past that, but you hit ocean if you keep going east. Vancouver going to the west. That's coast to coast. Shane Mack.
Yeah, that's it. Landed my buddy Ray picked me up at the airport, hung up for a bit. Then we went to NEW Wrestling. It was at the famous Commodore Ballroom.
Yes.
That was, if you watch my stories, that was an awesome venue.
NEW.
Yeah, it was. My first reaction was, they have to come here more often, because it's a huge stage. They have a big screen for when they do the wrestling. So they put up the wrestling picture of each other, like the matches. It got a balcony in the back. Everything's all wide open, and it was a lot of people, and there was a lot of people.
All right. So in your journeys, I want your top match between the 3 shows. Who were the guys?
So we had a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the NEW Tag Team Championship. They strung it up there. I was literally right here. They were like, the action was like right in front of me. People were going all like, they were just going through the tables. Just,
let's go.
Yeah, it was crazy, because the one spot where the guy had the ladder and this guy was in the ring and the other guy was holding him here, and they fell forward and they all landed all on top of the people, and this ladder was like huge, man. It was like huge, but it was controlled chaos, which was awesome. If you like that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love controlled chaos. As you see our room here, we are chaos. We
Yeah.
endorse it.
That was, I want to say, that was the match of the weekend for me, was that, because it was exciting.
Who were the tags in this match? Do you remember?
So they were called like Illa Tribe, which is two young guys. And then there was 2 like Samoan kind of people, and I forget the other ones. I've only been there twice, so it's kind of hard to really. I'm still kind of getting used to those wrestlers, so it's kind of,
Are you saying that the Samoan team was like the 2003 version of the Head Shrinkers?
Yeah, something like that. They had the awesome tribal tattoo, the Roman Reigns tattoo. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's typical Samoan people.
And from the East Coast show, did you get the buys or some of them fun guys? I know they usually stay to Spryfield, but
yeah. So they had Justin Newhook on there with Troy Merrick. They're called Fracture because I guess they've been together they reformed that group. And there's a couple of not new guys, but 2 guys, young guys that went to the New Japan Dojo in LA. So they went there to train. And so we're talking, and they just said it was just they want to go back because it was the wrestling, what they learned was like what you see in New Japan, like in Japan. So
strong style.
Yeah, the strong style. So they really like brought in, like, grasped everything. And yeah, not too much high flying there because it's so small. My boy Moondog Dylan Davis was there, so it's always good to see him. He went to the Nightmare Factory. He was the winner, so he went there for a bit, and it's good to see him there.
So, do you have a big weekend plan for this upcoming?
We're going back to Halifax on Friday. With them going to take the train to Moncton for North Pro Wrestling. So that's my first time going there.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to go there. It was just kind of like, it's on a Friday, so it's, the traveling kind of sucks. They got like East Coast guys. They got Sheldon Jean's going to be there, and that he's going to face Alex Silva. So Silva's kind of Quebec. Got Marco Estrada versus Little Blay.
Yes, I love Blay.
Little Blay's been in Mexico. And I haven't seen him in years, so it's going to be good to see him. Kobe Christ, he owns Kaizen Wrestling, so it's going to be good to see him too. And then, so Justin's going to be there again. and there's gonna like a couple other little matches, but
Yeah.
it's in it's called at the Tide and Boar Room. So I'm not sure if Marcus Burke owns that kind of like establishment, or I'm not sure, because I know he owns like a bar and he's got like kind of other endeavors that he has. So, but it's gonna be good to see that, because it's gonna be in a different non Knights of Columbus Germania type of atmosphere, where it's just, I don't know what it's like in a bar, so I don't know what kind of.
Marcus Burke, I remember watching him on Wrestle Center on the Fight Network like 6 years ago.
Yeah, so he's actually, I think he's gonna be like kind of out of kind of coming back to. I think he's got one show at NSPW on this Saturday, so he doesn't really wrestle too much. He's more of into like, I think he's got like some beer stuff, or he's got like a beer company, or so it's good for him to do that other than wrestling.
Yeah. Those are two guys you named, up and comers that should be in Ontario by the end of the year. I think Little Blay, his character work is so good, he should start traveling over here.
Yeah.
Same thing with Covey. I don't know if Covey's the type of guy that every place has, that type of wrestler, but he's so bloody good.
Yeah, so
I'd really like to see him travel.
Yeah, so he went a couple of times to Seaway Valley Wrestling in Cornwall. So he's been there a couple of times. He went to Crossbody a long time ago. Little Blade was there a while, like long time ago, a couple of years ago. So, but those are like, Kofi is just, he had a thing on YouTube where he had a story of like his life. So he moved through like to BC, was like homeless and just kind of like just down and out of his luck, and then he just found the love of wrestling.
Yes,
he got him, and he's such an awesome humble guy to talk to.
Well, I think your journeys are enamoring. I love following you on your socials.
Yeah.
We all of the boys that hit the indies know who you are. The workers know who you are. I think it would be a great plus having you in this family. So thank you for coming in.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
Ringside with Chops. Intro music pending.
Love you, Chops.
Yeah. I'm still going to be here for a little bit.
Yes, he's sticking around.
Sticking around for a little bit.
So we go into a couple things that have happened in the world. Today marks a very historical day. Whether it ends today or if it's today at some point, McMahons are no longer the owners of WWE.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
The Endeavor takeover happens over this 24-hour period. Where it starts and ends, I'm not sure. I think it's at midnight tonight, but
it happened today. TKO.
So it's finished.
Like when
they
the
McMahons.
It was announced earlier this morning. It's fully merged now.
Then there we go. Our days of McMahon giving us everything on TV. Now, obviously, he's still going to be working with them in some capacity. But, Tanks, what do you think of the McMahons finally letting go?
Oh, man, I am so happy for very, very many reasons. Hey, like, again, I'm an AEW mark. And, again, I stopped watching WWE when this product started. And a big part of it was because I was not a fan of Vince, how he handled himself. A lot of the stories that came out from that company that still come out even like to this day. Man, it's amazing. Even for the performers themselves, no more last-minute rewrites. No more going into work going, I wonder if somebody's going to scrap everything we prepared and write something for me to go out and make up on the spot. In
that
in
can
half
still
an
happen.
hour from now.
Yeah, that can still happen. There's no power.
You think
Pardon?
so with Vince gone?
Oh, yeah.
He's not
Vince
gone.
isn't
He's
gone.
still working, and Trips is still running it. It's just they don't own the ownership anymore, and they
My
can retire at
understanding-
any moment.
My understanding is he won't have that say though any longer. That kind of power while the show is happening.
No, that was part of the deal. That's why that was a condition of Endeavor buying it, and Ari Emanuel wanted to keep Vince McMahon on.
Yeah, and that's the funniest part is it wasn't Vince weaseling his way in. it was Endeavor saying we don't do it without Vince involved.
Yeah.
So the day-to-day, I think, stays the same. I want to see if something booms there, because like we said, we endorse chaos. We love it.
Well, Triple H is off of the board of directors. That they determined. He's
But
still
Really?
he's off the board of directors. Triple H.
What is his position, though? He has a strong
Head of
powerful-
creative?
Yeah. Which we all can say what we want about the Fed. Right now, they are hot. They are putting on good programming. I mean, you can even go over to Main Event Oos. That stuff is getting people's eyes watching both programs. With that thought, I do wonder, Matt, so what it is one of the Usos has moved over to Raw to be away from Roman and his brother to build their solos.
Yeah.
But there's a trade that comes back to SmackDown. Where do you think who's coming to SmackDown?
I saw who did show up on Raw, but what I was curious, but no, I didn't see who the trade was going back over.
We're still waiting on the announcement of it. What do you got, Drummond?
So I think everyone thinks it's going to be Cody. I actually think they're going to move a woman over, especially with the ending of Raw last night, another woman being on the Raw roster. I think we're getting a woman moved over, and I said Becky. I mean, they don't like to break up couples anymore, but I mean, I don't know. I think everyone's they're gonna. I mean, Cody gets over there eventually somehow. I think because he's facing Roman, but I think that doesn't happen until the Rumble. So yeah, I'm thinking it's a woman, and my pick is Becky, even though that might not happen because of the whole don't break up couple thing now.
Yeah, I'm still on the Cody train. It just makes sense, the timing. He runs through a couple people to get to Roman. But I mean, every time I say it makes sense for Cody, they don't do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But that might be Cody doing it just to tease me, because he loves to tease the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Walter.
Who?
The same man we've seen time and time again travel the world is now Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Wow, let's give some chops for that guy. Holy cow. Proud of the man. We've watched him since WXW, right? We were watching him move on, go through progress, get to WWE eventually. We got to see him. It's somebody I can't say a bad thing about, even when I want to. His in-ring, his match with Sheamus, the guy deserves to be where he is. The idea that he took his weight down in such a drastic manner that it just made him a WWE-looking guy. But he's still Walter. Uri, how do you feel?
I think it's cool. I've always been a Gunther or Walter, whatever you want to call him, fan. I think Brandon and Dusty know that I've always been a fan. When he came to Smash that one time, I was the one pushing to go because I wanted to meet Walter, just because I'm such a fan of his. And just like Dusty said, we watched him in WXW, we watched him in Progress, we watched him in PWG. And I think, I think what made him in the eyes of the WWE brass is when he lost all that weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that showed his dedication to the company. Because I mean, this was a guy that was never going to leave Germany. And they got him to do the UK thing, and then they slowly got him to agree to do the NXT down in America, and then the main roster. So I think that's a guy that, especially when he lost all the weight, that's a guy that they looked at and probably next year probably going to be a world champion now that there's 2 world titles.
Yeah, There was one thing I always thought it didn't seem as long. The reign. I mean, a Honky Tonk Man seemed longer. I don't know if it's just because I was so into it back then and from week to week, but this kind of creeped up that he's the longest reigning. It just didn't feel that way. It's going to be interesting who he loses to, but I hope they immediately put him right to top heavyweight championship. I mean, it'd be interesting to see him against and Roman kind of start to go at it. You've got Imperium, and the bloodline, so to speak. I think that'd be some good television.
That's some good
both
stuff.
Big guys, both hard hitting.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good opponent for Roman.
I'm in agreement on that for sure. I think anybody over there on the main, like if you go towards Seth, it looks good. I mean, he'll make him look like $1 million. Either way, we got some more to go, and he still has 8 more title reigns to catch Jericho. So keep trying, bud.
I think if Gunther doesn't face Brock next year at Mania, he's winning the Rumble.
Ooh. That would be a good, and he takes everybody. He beats
Gunther.
I agree.
You say who Gunther and Brock?
He'll drop
I
the IC. He'll drop the IC to Gable. That's what they're pushing right now, and then that way he can move on to the next trajectory, which would be the world title picture.
Yeah, I think if he's not facing Brock at Mania next year, he's going to win the Rumble.
Yeah. Speaking of pushes, LA Knight.
Yeah.
What's going on with these contract talks? Breezy, you're the man on the Twitter. Tell me, what's going on here?
So they have them for 5 years. So apparently that just came out. But what they're far away on right now is the money. So they have them for 5 years regardless, but they're trying to get them up there with money with the top stars. That's where the back and forth is right now. They just want to make him happy because of look at the seats that he's filling and the merch that he's selling.
He's still the number one guy, right, for the merch?
Yes.
And he was doing that shit with just 13 pieces of merchandise, whereas the guy that was number 2 had like 147 pieces of merch.
Golly.
So that's insane. What do you think about that, Boris?
Connor, how do you feel about the old LA Knight? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't watch WWE much, but the guy I have been catching into is LA Knight.
Yes.
I believe it was maybe a week ago, he cut the same promo as Kevin Nash did on Nitro. I don't know if anyone caught that, but that was really cool.
Well, he was correcting him.
Yeah.
Called him a moron, but still.
Every time
Nash was taking a shot of him on his podcast. So
yeah.
he said, "Now, if I were an adjective or if I were a moron, listen to the key word in your play. I would say adjective, but it's actually a verb." And it went over a lot of people's heads. But
Good.
those that grew up in the attitude era, we got what he was saying.
Oh yeah. And if not, the dirt sheets we're going to explain once we hit the clickbait.
Love that shit, though.
And that was on a podcast. Kevin Nash said that.
Yeah.
Which is where I want to roll to next. I want to go to my punk diehards in Connor and Breezy on this one. Maddie, you brought up Bitchov, and he had some pretty unkind words about London Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like too much for the toxic characters that just shit on things, but he recently went at Jungle Boy and made some pretty unsavory comments on what should be done with him, stated that he has the skill that could fit into a thimble, the talent that would fill a thimble, and he should be released immediately.
Wow.
Eric's a businessman, Dusty. That's why. Jungle Boy to Eric Bischoff is a dime a dozen. It's reach out to any indie, pull a guy out, and that's Jungle. Boom. He doesn't sell tickets. He doesn't sell merch. He's not a draw. So to Eric, as a businessman, releasing somebody, let alone your biggest moneymaker, to appease an indie, darling, that's what Eric's saying. He doesn't get it business-wise.
But I mean, it's not the one guy.
But it is in that argument, because that's what what escalated the situation.
And pre Punk interaction, did you consider Jungle Boy only having a thimble of talent?
No, but I'm not Eric Bischoff. I didn't, beat WWE 83 weeks in a row in the 90s and make millions of dollars. So I see it from his view. Me as a fan, I love Jack Perry. I love Jungle Boy. I appreciate everything he's done for AEW and everything he's going to continue to do. It's unfortunate that him and Punk couldn't just work it out as men, and that CM Punk had to take the fall. But I feel like Jungle Boy instigated that, and he didn't get as severe punishment as he should have. My opinion.
Connor?
I agree with Breezy on Eric Bischoff's. Like in his mindset, that's what he thinks. Like he's the one who did the whole Goldberg thing. I will say this. Jack Perry, he's not one of my favorite wrestlers, but he is one of the guys that they brought up from scratch in AEW, like MJF, Sammy, guys like that.
A pillar.
Yeah. I hope when Jack Perry comes back, he's able to fit right back in. I'm curious to see how they bring him back. I'm curious to see how they do that. But the one thing I'll say about Punk is I really don't think he got fired over the Jack Perry stuff. I feel like Tony Khan would have overlooked that. I feel like it was the him and Tony's little stint. I believe they got into it before that even happened. Then they got into it again.
Yeah.
And saw that happen. But in Eric Bischoff's mind, that's like to him, he's just an indie guy compared to his Hulk Hogan's and
Yeah, like you were saying, I think it's an accumulation of his actions from the beginning. And a lot of things that Norm's like really taking is like the real life aspect of you got a 44, 45-year-old man striking a 26-year-old man. I don't care where you are and what you're doing, especially when you're the first guy doing it. Like, that's just not a good look. And then plus, outside of Tony, there are other people around. And I'm sorry, you just can't. He can't conduct himself like that in any environment. And it's kind of sad because I think he became everything he didn't want to become.
And it's unfortunate. I do want to steer clear of falling back into the Punk because I could go for hours. So
I just want to say one other thing about that.
Yeah,
Punk. I just want to know, did Eric Bischoff, you think, ever fear for his life back in the 90s with the volatile egos that he had to deal with?
Yeah.
Just wondering. Food for thought.
Yes. Absolutely.
Bischoff feared
Norman-
fire, bro.
Norman Smiley was a real bitch for him.
So was Rumpus.
I heard he feared everybody.
I haven't heard Smiley's name in a while.
It's a great name, the Wiggle, baby. The Wiggle.
Yeah.
He was a real shooter, believe it or not. I've seen clips. That guy could actually go.
Yeah. That's what's beautiful is he could go, but his look was so off-putting that he couldn't get over until he started that screaming gimmick. But I'm sorry, that was one of the greatest wrestling gimmicks of all time. Coming out with a football uniform to have a match just because he was scared to get hit. The guy took punches every day as an enhancement. Let's go.
Greatest WCW hardcore champion in history.
I remember I had a WCW magazine and it showed you how to do the wiggle in it.
That's hilarious.
We're going to ask you to post that on TikTok and then we'll share that. I would love to see you do the wiggle.
The wiggle challenge. Everybody has to try it.
As we wiggle our way into Dynamite. Dynamite started off pretty freaking brilliantly, and I'm going to show you why, okay? To get this many people into a segment, that didn't take any time. Let me walk through it. Orange Cassidy comes out, says very little, but gets over huge. Walks up to the ramp. Mox's music hits. Mox enters. Darby and AR enter. AR heads to the ring for his match. Darby and Orange look at each other at the top. Mox has his match with AR, which ends with Christian and Lucha talking about Nick Wayne, who's come out at the end of that match.
I feel like you just wrote a screenplay and we're running through it there.
But you did not. How did I thought about it and I didn't realize I watched that many people's storylines interweave without actually touching each other. And I was like, that's kind of smart. I don't know if anybody else caught this, but we do got to talk about the segment. I don't have a catchphrase. Maddie, how are you feeling? Now that the title's off, where does he go? What do you feel?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of glad it gives another opportunity to Mox, give the title a different look. I like the title on the shoulder. I know that was the gimmick with the bag. No one's done that before. So you're right, though. It was kind of interesting, but it's at the same time when so many guys are coming out, you're kind of like, why? What is this leading to? Is it going to lead to like a 4-way where you're going to have like all guys are in a 4-way match? Like what's the angle? I mean, I love Christian, so whenever he comes out, I love hearing him. He's my favorite right now. I think he's the most entertaining on the mic right now, over and above. I'm kind of done with MJF a bit. I'm kind of done with some of the guys that's regurgitate. So it's refreshing. I just love the way he talks, especially when this comes out and now he's got his house everyone's father's doing. Like he's just reinvented himself. So I'm excited to see, and I think it's maybe now that Orange is away from the belt. I thought he was going to take a break, but then he gets on his spiel saying, "Hey, no, I'm going to be here every single week." So does that put him now towards a TNT title? Is that is that going to be with that group, and then Mox is going to kind of move the title away, the international, with a different group of guys, different group of competitors. So it's interesting. Again, I'm all for the Christian. I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have minded if Orange Cassidy took a break. I think he's due for a break and kind of a bit of a recharge and come back. He needs to be missed a bit. I think it's every week is we're getting squirted with his juice. So it's like we could do for a little time off. I think that's my take on that.
Absolutely. I don't know what my Dynamite looks like without a Orange Cassidy banger. So I'm not ready for him to go anywhere. Speaking of never go anywhere ever, Jericho and Sammy versus Aussie Open.
That was my favorite part of the whole show.
Okay, that's what I would like to hear. I don't understand why Aussie Open keeps taking L's, but Zach, can you talk about people taking L's and getting shots?
There we go.
That's my biggest thing with AEW.
That was a grand slam.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing with AEW. I'm still wondering why AR Fox and Emi Sakura both got title shots this week. They didn't bury Aussie Open. I feel like Aussie Open got a bit of a rub from Jericho in that match. They got a lot of offense in that match. I think the All-In match was a little more of a burial than this match. But yeah, no, they got a lot of offense in. They looked really good, Aussie Open. They're still kind of new to AEW, so it's kind of okay. I'm hoping that maybe they'll get the ROH belts back, and then they can have a better run, because I think their run kind of got fandangled with a bigger storyline.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, I don't think there was a problem with them losing. The way that it happened, everything was fine. If it was a straight burial, that'd be a little different. If it was like a 5-minute match, a little bit different. But I think we have to always remember that just because you lose a match doesn't mean you're getting buried, doesn't mean you're doing a job, right?
It's fair. It's very fair.
I know a lot of us like Cody, myself included. I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan, but if done right, unlike what he says, wins and losses don't always matter. Case in point with AR Fox and Emi Sakura.
Yeah, I think the term burial is very not used properly. Burial is supposed to be something a character can't come back from. So I don't think in any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form was Aussie Open buried, even if they take a couple losses. As long as it's going somewhere and they're going to build them, which they're going to. But again, not following New Japan. Who's the younger guy? Is that Kyle Fletcher? Is the 25-year-old, the skinnier kid?
Yes.
Yep.
Great work every match I've seen him in. But because
Yep.
Mark Davis was hurt, never really saw Mark Davis very often. Now I'm realizing how good Mark Davis is and what a powder keg that guy is, man. He's very thick. He's very much a tank. And a horrible name for a finishing move. What the hell is the glory hole is? But what a good tag team.
And I will say, after listening to Mark Davis on the Jericho pod, he has a hell of a story, and it's a hard one. The amount of times he's got there and then couldn't get there with injury, and then housing didn't work out, and it's just a tumultuous, hard word, journey that he had to go through to get to where he is. And Kyle Fletcher, the best thing he's ever done is Sky Blue. Thank you.
I miss blue collar Mark Davis a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
When he was in Progress, he used to come out with like the plaid shirt, and I remember he wrestled Walter on a Progress show, and we watched it. I think you and I, Dusty, and maybe Brandon too.
Oh my god!
And I remember going in, and we're all like, "Why is he getting a title shot?" Because he wasn't there yet, and I think Aussie Open was kind of just starting at that point. And him and Walter had a banger. Like they beat the crap out of each other.
Sounds like a
And I
man's
think that
band
kind of
gimmick with Walter Regal.
Pardon?
Sounds like the Walter Regal man's man gimmick.
Yeah.
It was a big men's slap and meat match.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah. And I think that kind of put him on the map, and then Kyle Fletcher got involved and it put them on the map. But yeah, no, I don't think they got hurt from losing that match.
Speaking of putting people on the map, Don Callis. Chops, I'm bringing this over to you. He has announced that he has a target. Who is Don Callis after?
Wow. I don't know. He's with the whole Kenny Omega. He denounced him as his son or whatever. Now, who's with like Omega, and who's he gonna denounce? Is he gonna go through Omega's friends?
The Elite?
Wow. Hangman?
Oh, yeah.
Hangman's busy, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But
You know who came to my mind was actually Coda, because Coda needs a storyline.
oh my God, Kanosuke and Coda as a tag team.
No.
Is Coda there?
Coda's
Isn't he
always
son?
there. When you see the
Yeah.
stars in the sky, you know Coda's watching. Coda's always watching.
Either against
Maybe
them or
that's where-
together, but he needs a storyline.
Maybe that's where Orange Cassidy goes next.
No.
Mm.
To
It's
be like
Takeshita.
the heel, to be trying to be.
Oh, fight Takeshita, not join.
Yeah. Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Because
Because if he was
Don
going to
said he had a
join, my
target.
heart was breaking 7 ways.
No. Well, did Don say he had a target, or he was looking for someone to join the family?
He said a target specifically. So
He has somebody
Okay.
in mind.
So
one
Yeah, I
guy
thought it was to fight him.
He didn't specify whether Takeshita was fighting them or whether they were joining the family, right?
That's what
No,
I
it
thought. I
was to
thought
join
it was
the
the next
family.
opponent.
Oh,
It was
he
to
meant
build
someone.
the family.
I took it as Takeshita was going to face somebody next,
No.
and
So
the
that-
one guy would be very similar to the one that he had done of Jericho, where he was holding Jericho's head.
No, it's somebody joining the family. That's why he didn't unveil the painting.
Okay.
That's right. So a couple guys came to my thought, and I went Vikingo, but because he can still go completely heel with the title. Don Callis, imagine the heat he would get in AAA. And then the other one,
Will
Gringo
Hobbs?
Loco.
No, we can't. We can, no.
I'm saying
Love
it.
Gringo, man.
Who?
He can't be heel. Man. No. No.
Who
It
did you
would
say,
be
Dusty?
Yeah, I didn't hear.
Loco.
Gringo Loco.
Oh my God, no.
No, God,
No,
no.
see, no.
Why not? Why not Hobbs?
Well, once he signs with AEW, say in a couple of weeks, let's just say a couple of weeks, maybe then because he's already been on the show, maybe then he turns once he signs completely.
I think if Gringo Loco signs, I think he's going to be a Ring of Honor guy.
Okay.
That's a fair point.
What about Brian Keith?
He's not a signed guy.
But I mean, he got a match, and if the eyes looked good, you think they couldn't bring him into a lower tier until they're ready to give him a full tier?
Well, if we're going to talk about guys that aren't signed, then let's bring back Mance Warner then.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my God, Mance with Callis?
Oh my God.
That would never work. He's too.
Bring in the whole crew. No, bring in the whole crew.
The whole crew, yeah.
Bring in the whole damn crew.
Brandon, was it you that said Hobbs?
Yes, and I have somebody
Yeah.
else, but I want to marinate on Hobbs for a second
All right, bring it out. What's going on with Hobbs? Why do you think he fits with Callis?
because he lost to Miro, so he needs something.
And he's a good talker for him.
Very good.
I don't hate that. What's the other piece that you're thinking?
Well, you're not ready for that yet.
No, you got to give it. You can't tease. This ain't a people. I paid my 25 cents.
Is it Ace Steel?
No, I want it to be after the promo that he cut. I don't know if we got there yet because I think it happened on Collision or Rampage. I forget. But I want it to be Santana.
Oh,
Yeah.
Connor, you jumped at that one.
I like Santana. It's
I think
upsetting.
that would work.
It looks like Santana and Ortiz aren't really on the same page, but I'm all for it. Santana.
Callis family would take him to that next level, like
Absolutely.
main event type. You know.
Yep.
What about which I saw at the Wrestle Dream, like a Zack Sabre Jr. Would that be?
He's got his own faction,
Signed New Japan.
and he's got his own faction already. He's got the Mighty Don't Kneel.
TMDK.
TMDK,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, I got one person in mind. He hasn't appeared on AEW in quite some time.
Sean Spears. Go ahead.
What is his name? Chris Jericho called him the fat face dipshit.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, you gotta narrow it down more.
American Top Team.
That's awesome.
American Top Team. Who was the guy that was the
Ethan Page.
No.
Oh, was he with Dan Lambert?
Dan
Yes.
Lambert. I doubt it's him. That'd be something else. It was
Scorpio Sky?
He's
Scorpio
someone I
guy.
also thought it could be because he hasn't
Urai's playing a game of who signed that they could use, and I'm just gonna
No,
name
Scorpio Sky was with Dan Lambert.
Yeah, so was Ethan Page. Those are the only two wrestlers that were worth stopping.
I'm making it relevant to what Connor's saying, Dusty.
Listen, it's me and Zach against everybody else tonight, apparently, because we're on the same page.
It's the Tank and Zach show. We're just guest stars. Let's go.
My pick is Bo Dallas.
Ah! Oh my God, that'd be huge. That'd be huge. Speaking of huge, MJF and Joe. We get them in a ring to talk it out. Urai did voice a little displeasure with the repetitive storytelling from MJF. Am I correct, Urai?
Yeah, I mean, MJF last year, when they kind of were doing that babyface little turn there with Moxley, he cut 2 really good promos. Why have I heard the same promos in the past 4 months?
You can tell the future. It didn't actually happen.
Well, I mean, it. Are you going like? I think we kind of compared him to The Rock, Dusty, right, with his babyface turn a little bit.
Yes.
Where The Rock wasn't a sympathetic. I mean, other than when he was getting beat up by 20 people, he wasn't a vulnerable babyface.
No.
He talked smack. MJF, like, if you're going for that sympathy, I need more than 2 stories because you've only told the same 2 stories. So you need to pick a lane, and if you're going to pick that lane, I need more than 2 stories. Other than that,
He's a scumbag though. Because
He's
he's a scumbag.
Our scumbag.
Because he's a scumbag, he doesn't have more than 2 good stories. So you
But that
gotta
doesn't make
keep
any
rinsing and repeating it.
And
that
plus,
doesn't
he
make any
got
sense.
Liv Morgan pregnant.
Oh my god!
Wow.
And I mean, I'm all for the whole scumbag thing. But he's got to pick a lane, in my opinion. Either be that guy or be the sympathetic guy. You can't be both.
One thing I loved about this segment, and I was hyped, this was one of my favorite parts of the whole show. They poked at each other, and rather than MJF taking the coy way out, he said, what do the 5 fingers say to the face, Justin? Slap.
No.
How'd you feel?
I mean, it's gonna. The thing is, I don't know where the best thing is I don't know where this is going. I mean, it seems obvious that Joe's gonna win the tournament. I know we're not that far yet either, but they also have a pay-per-view 2 weeks after that. So I have no clue where it's going. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I kind of don't feel the same way as Zach about the promos. With MJF, I mean, he doesn't really miss. And I mean, but Joe and MJF is going to be fantastic. I just wonder if this is good enough, is big enough for a pay-per-view, or if you go to Arthur Ashe and you have something bigger for the pay-per-view.
It's just kind of a question. So I guess it's gonna say kind of to your point of we're talking about like 2 weeks and it's like another pay-per-view. Is your point that AEW is going to start to burn out because it feels like it's like big event, and they're just trying to. It's
always a big event, the biggest event ever.
Yes.
Oh,
and we led into All Out assuming that we were going to be burnt. Nobody really watched it all in one sitting by majority. And with the Bryan Danielson, Ricky Starks match, it showed that they can still do it and get everybody talking. Breezy, tell me about it.
I'm just saying they got 5 stars, right? So Meltzer liked it. And that was a good show. I mean, just for going from England, biggest stadium show, biggest pro wrestling show, and then All Out. I thought All Out was actually a pretty damn good show. I enjoyed it. It got a lot of guys that normally wouldn't be on the pay-per-view. They got to showcase, hey, let me participate too. So I thought it was a good show. And the MJF promo with Joe, I liked it because Joe didn't just back off. Joe stayed at MJF's level, which a lot of people can't. And a lot of people, just because Joe's so physically imposing, they forget how good he actually is on the mic because the Fed didn't really give him that many chances to showcase that. Whereas I'm hoping AEW is going to let him do that more and more because he stood right there with Max, and Max is tops when it comes to the stick. So,
do you remember Joe and Nash in the ring? TNA days?
Yeah, probably a feud over the Legends title or some shit like that.
Well, no, he was building up to bring out EY, and
when he bashed Scott Hall for no showing.
Say it again.
When he was bashing Scott Hall for no showing.
Oh, yeah.
He was unstoppable on the mic in TNA in those days.
Yep.
I'll say that he can talk, and I think it really showed. So we're going somewhere where we don't know, but we always seem to enjoy.
I liked the promo. I didn't like one part of it.
Yeah.
So I don't want anyone to think I didn't like it. I did like it. I liked the segment. I didn't like the Regal part that I already heard last year.
This just in, Zach hates MJF and all of his promo work.
Yeah. I can't stand MJF or his promos. No, and I agree with Brandon about All Out. I agree with Brandon about All Out too. I think because Tony made it seem like this is going to be a yearly thing, at least for next year too, with the back-to-back. And I think if you're going to do that, you got to have different guys on All Out that are not on All In. Obviously, some guys are going to recycle, and that's fine. But I think for the most part, you got to have a different set of guys.
One person who doesn't seem to recycle, Tony Storm. This new gimmick. I'm so in. Don't you shake your head. No, Matt, we're coming back to you after I say this. Brilliance. She come out with this laissez-faire. What spray paint can? No, let's not talk about the past. Let's look into the future. Like I always say, chin up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe. And she throws a shoe. That was brilliant. And the reason why I will let you go, but I have to say, I want to quote Nigel McGuinness. So he said, she's found something, hasn't she? She calls herself illustrious, and certainly she has that history. But the way she carries herself, there's this air of Audrey Hepburn, there's a fire of Elizabeth Taylor, there's a bit of everything, and I love to see it. I can't wait till she really gets a wind in her sails and she's got the opportunity to go out there and have some big matches.
Marilyn Monroe in there too.
Yes, absolutely. That broke down everything I needed. Nigel, great way of words. But the girl has something. I'm in. Matt, why are you not in?
Because there's I don't know if you guys, there's like a sitcom, there's a UK sitcom where there was like two middle-aged women that were like divorced, and all they did was like drink and shopped and stuff, and the mother actually was in Friends actually years ago, and I just find that she's just like found a gimmick and all of a sudden just changed and very animated and trying to be a very this British character, just like these two women in this sitcom. And I just find it's a bit much. Like the acting. I know she's in character. She's trying to get something. I get it. She's got something, and it is somewhat entertaining. And she's got this like the hair almost like it's different. She's trying to do something. It's a bit much. I'm just like there's a little the theatrics need to come down a bit.
It's meant to be that way. It's supposed to be over the top because nobody else is doing a character like that. See, just the fact that we're talking about it means that she's doing something right.
Breezy, I want to keep you on the mic here for a sec. We keep moving into another spot, which Uri popped off, but that's okay. I can speak on his behalf. He's mentioned it already that we hate how people keep getting given title shots and whatnot. This will come up in the next segment for me. We walk in with Hangman Adam Page and Swerve. So in Hangman Adam Page and Swerve in the ring, it's a match we want to see, absolutely. But if you heard the promo, Swerve basically says, if I was given opportunities like you were, I would have done something with them.
Oh, I'm glad I came back for this.
Yes, you are. I already called you out on it. Breezy, in the last 3 months, how many opportunities has Swerve gotten?
Many. And unfortunately, he just didn't, capitalize on them. But he's gotten shots at titles, man.
So it seemed very redundant in this promo. How did you feel about it, Ooh?
I think if you think about it, I think Swerve got more shots in 4 months than Hangman has in 4 years. That's just my opinion. I agree with what he said. Hangman was supposed to be the guy, and he's fallen, and I agreed with that. But I mean, I don't know if he's writing his own promos or someone's writing them for him. But I think we should remember what's happened in the last 4 months, how many international title shots that man has had.
But I get Swerve's point, though. He's talking about the heavyweight championship. He's talking about the main one. So, again, I know he had some title shots, but I also thought that he was put in those spots to make the champion look good. Like he wasn't meant to win. He was meant to enhance by and showcasing himself. I think Swerve, if he keeps doing promos like this as well, he is definitely going to elevate himself. He's going to be up. He's either going to be, I think, in the next couple of months, he's either going to be at he's going to get one of the belts. He has to. I think he deserves it now.
But from a kayfabe standpoint, was he put in there to make the other guy look good, or was he there to win the title?
Yeah, if we're playing in the suspense of disbelief, absolutely, he was there to win the match. And in his promo, he says if he was given the same opportunities, which we're talking about the World Championship, which Hangman won, and if Swerve can't win a TNT title, how does he have a name in the picture for a world title? And this brings us back, same topic, with a series of matches. Hoorah!
Yeah.
The elimination open world eliminator tournament.
What's this, the 19th eliminator in 4 years for AEW?
Oh, we got another one in November, the Full Gear eliminator tournament. We got another
one. I like how everyone in that tournament, except for 2 people, which one of them won a multi-man tag match, have lost their previous matches. The only 2 to win their last matches were Joe and Trent. Everyone else has lost their last matches. Now, you can look the other way on Darby and Roddy, because I think they've only lost 1 match in the last while. But at the same time, why are these guys getting title shots, but people like Claudio are not in there, and Eddie Kingston's not in there? And, I mean, I know why they're not in there because they have a match coming up, but kayfabe-wise, why are they not in this tournament? Why was Orange Cassidy not in this tournament?
Why wasn't Takeshi or Romero in it either? They all won on the pay-per-views.
Right.
You guys are answering your own question, though. Every single one of them is involved in some kind of storyline reason why they can't be in it. So,
but
that's the answer.
I want to do something real quick. Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Sean Spears. I can keep going. There's lots. Evil Uno. I don't care. There's so many guys that could have been in Dalton Castle. All these guys could have been in this tournament. And then you have your Strong and you have your Joe. Now, leading to that, I kind of spoiled right there. We got Trent versus Strong taking the W. I'm just going crazy with the Strong stuff. I've already predicted that I feel like they're going to do something here. And if he ends up champion, I won't be mad. I think it's insane, and it's just almost insane enough to work. So he gets a good match off, and then we go Darby and Nick Wayne, which would have main evented this show. Decent match. I enjoyed it thoroughly. A couple people in another group started shitting on Nick Wayne, saying he's green, blah, 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 blah. I was like, it's because you don't know who he is. Us that watch a lot of the indies, the GCWs, anything else, we know who Nick Wayne is because he's been around for 2 years doing big profile matches. So I shared with them Will Ospreay and Nick Wayne. It opened up their mind a little more, and I think everybody needs to give Nick Wayne a chance to get seasoned before he starts doing things. I don't think he's green. I think everybody here can agree. There's not a green bone in his body.
From an entertainment standpoint, it was a good match. Everyone knew that was going to be a good match. Of all the people that have been there, and you're talking about an eliminator tournament for the championship, he should not have been there. He should have been doing other things. He's entertaining. I get it. But again, for longevity, like you said, he's been around for 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Look how many other guys have been in AEW for 2 years and that got a shot. So I think I can understand if guys are pissed at that. Again, I understand from that TK's putting in, he's all about entertainment. And that was a good match. And that was a good showcase match. So I get it from an entertainment standpoint. It made for good TV. But I don't think he deserved to be in a tournament like this. Yeah.
And I mean, if we're going to put Darby, go ahead.
If we're to believe that Grand Slam is supposed to be one of your biggest shows of the year, non-pay-per-view, and you're going to have the winner of this tournament take on MJF for the world title in Arthur Ashe Stadium, it should be guys that are, winning matches, guys that have some momentum.
Now, if we say that exact thing, by putting together a tournament, they're kind of winning matches.
Why are they in the tournament?
But
if you're not winning.
They were in catering and Tony saw them. Let's go.
But once again, it was already answered. These are all storyline reasons why every single one of them are in there. Because Nick Wayne didn't deserve to be in there. Nick Wayne didn't deserve to be in there, but his storyline tied into Darby, and Darby was already in there, so that's his reason. And if you go through all of them, there's storyline reasons. It's still a show.
Why was Trent in there? What was Trent's storyline reason for being there? You gonna tell me that you couldn't have had Ed and Claudio in there, and they both could have cost each other their matches?
You brought up the only example of somebody who won, though. So by your own logic, he should have been there because he was the only guy who won. He lost in the first match.
Right. But what was his reason for? You said everyone had a storyline reason for being there. What was his?
Everybody had a storyline for being in there out of the wrestlers that you guys say should not be there. Not everybody in the entire tournament. Everybody who you guys brought up. Why is this guy there? There was a storyline reason. Why is that guy there? Because there's a storyline reason.
Okay, so why is
what's the storyline though? Even Darby. Darby
this is fair. If we walk through it.
Darby lost his title match on the pay-per-view. Why wasn't Luchasaurus in the tournament? Why wasn't Orange in the tournament after just defending the international title 23 times in a row? He lost, so at least put him in there. He defended the belt for months on end. He's not in it. Takeshita beats Kenny Omega. He's not in the tournament. Yeah. What the hell are you doing?
Perfect. Takeshita has a storyline that they're building for next week. That is not part of the tournament. Technically, the tournament itself is a storyline. If you really want to get technically and really have this conversation, who else did you just bring up? Because there's somebody else that just eluded my mind that I had a reason.
Hardy.
Pardon?
Jeff Hardy.
Yeah,
why is he in there?
Right.
Star power.
Why is
okay? That's fair.
but that's not a reason. Like, why is Penta in there?
Sorry,
Jay Lethal in there.
Why was or why was not?
The real question is why was Willow not in there? Because I mean, if it was Willow, I'd have been into it.
Hold on. Why was Jay Lethal in there, but not Jeff Jarrett, who just won a singles match against Jeff Hardy?
Stop making sense of things.
That's a very good point, kayfabe-wise. We're saying kayfabe-wise, it doesn't make sense. Why? I mean, fuck, 80% of the guys in the tournament were in it.
Where's that?
Don't matter.
In the end, these big stars were put in there to be enhancements to the real story that's coming out of it, and it gives, say, Joe or Roddy 3 wins to lead to a belt. I mean, it's better than what we've been getting for matches for a belt, because, I mean, how many belts were defended in the last 3 shows that had no reason, Emi Sakura?
You know what they could have did? That's good. You know what they could have did to change my mind? Why couldn't Nick Wayne beat Darby Allin?
Do you know what? That's perfect. That would have been a great spot because he loses his next match, which was Darby's. They would have just switched pieces, and it probably would have worked. I wouldn't have been mad at that.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
if those are the guys you're going to put in, you got to give me one, and they did not give me one. All the outcomes were obvious, except for the finals. All the outcomes have been obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one that is not, and then my mind probably would have been changed.
Yeah,
and they didn't do that.
No, I agree.
Now, outside of all the hating on the tournament, Dusty, what I will say, Roddy's character right now with the Kingdom, I fucking love it. And his gimmick of wrestling the match and then right after putting the neck brace on, come on. That's a throwback to like Bob Orton in the cast, right, boys? I love that. Good. That's great. So I'm
what about Owen Hart in the cast?
If you want to keep things kayfabe and you want to, give fans a reason to give a shit about the world title, then maybe have some guys competing for the opportunity on a win streak. A little bit of momentum. Maybe they have a reason for getting that opportunity. Not just, hey, let's throw some guys in here because they chose not to, go to Bray Wyatt's funeral.
Oh, somebody who wasn't invited to the funeral started off Collision, and that's Action Andretti. We're still on the same topic of why guys get huge stars. I'll let that simmer for a sec. So Breezy
I'm pissed
loved
we're
this
1
match.
hour into this.
He
We
said it
haven't
was
talked about the Bang game.
5 stars. Breezy gave it. Mox versus Action Andretti. He
I
said
hated
they
this
should have had
fucking-
more time on this match. Tell him, Breezy.
John Moxley just fucking main evented all out. Okay? He just main evented a pay-per-view. He just beat a guy that had not fucking lost in a year. And you're gonna have actually thinking that Action Andretti, who hasn't had any meaningful win since Jericho, is gonna beat John Moxley, and then Moxley is actually catering to this idea by kayfabing his knee hurts. Get the fuck out of here. That's all I gotta say about that. And
This is a great finish to the match.
For the title.
This match was 9 minutes longer, boys, than it should have been. Next.
Great finish. Great finish. Drop down right into the choke. I enjoyed. So then we go to the next topic, which is Statlander. She gets a match against Emmy, absolute destruction. Emmy's still suffering because her gimmick was stolen.
No.
Saraya
That was
Wembley.
Dynamite. That was Dynamite.
I know.
One of the Renegade
Oh,
twins.
I know.
Okay.
Let him host you, right?
Putting
You
it
just be a
together
wrestling guy.
as she beats Emi Sakura on Dynamite, yes, and then beats Robin Renegade. Those are 2 people that deserve the title shots. But then the real show starts. Chops, how you feeling about the return of Jade Cargill?
Oh man, I've never liked her. Never.
Why?
It's like I just something about it where the streak just the title that she had is just just have the women's title. Like she's a woman. Like just have
that bitch show.
Yeah.
That bitch show.
I like to build her up to be unstoppable.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't really see her, but she just beat not saying nobodies, but of course, when Goldberg did his streak too, he beat nobodies either, right?
How dare you? He beat Bill DeMott in his first match. How dare you?
But it just, I
that
guess
comment was quite humorous, right?
Humorous.
No, but she's back, so good for her, and they need to spice up the women's division.
But really quickly, that belt is a TV title belt for the women.
Yes. Yes, where the world.
It's basically their IC title, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'll say
Yes.
this about Jade. She is green, but she's a star.
Yes.
When you look at her, you can tell she would pass the airport test.
She did progress quite a bit, though. Sorry, Zach, go ahead.
No, you're fine. And she's probably one of the only people in AEW who could pass the airport test.
Yeah, she was green at the beginning. I think she progressed quite a bit. I was actually worried because there was reports and rumors going around that after she lost the belt, she may not be coming back. So in my head, I was kind of like, well, that's crappy of you. So you took your nice long run. You made your little money off your physique and your look and all of that. Now you're not going to, settle in and actually be a part of this. So I was just happy to see her back and well, she's actually going to stick it out and have some more matches and put other people over would be nice.
Maddie, I saw you going in.
Yeah, I just found with it feels like with Statlander in the title, it feels like it's secondary where they pumped it so much with Jade Cargill. And then with Statlander wins it, and it's like crickets. And they can, they're not promoting her. She doesn't look like the dominant force. And then it's almost like now she was just holding it. It was just holding the title until Jade came back. That's what kind of feels. It doesn't feel like the proper push for her the way they pushed her before. Last year just kind of feels like, again, it's like this. It's not. And then, a couple of matches like this, and then she comes and gets beat up. I don't know. I just feel like she's just keeping the title warm.
I think the injury
I
screwed her.
agree.
I think she was supposed to win before her knee blew out or whatever injury it was. But I think she was slated to win then. And since it didn't happen, they just extended the cargo run. And I think that's why we're not getting the genuine, sincere build out we should have gotten before the injury.
But she's facing jobbers and people that are
Yeah.
not really signed to the company. That's the problem.
Emi Sakura
it's not
is a
when she
saint.
won the title. It's not when she won the title. It's who she's facing. It's the same thing with Mox finally got it. They finally put the belt on like someone who can bring that prestige up. And his first 2 title matches are AR Fox and Action Andretti. We're gonna in 3 weeks we're gonna have the same argument about Mox.
So really quick, the very first match on the card, you want those high-flying energy guys, AR and Andretti both
I agree.
meet that criteria, although you're right, it doesn't meet the rest of the criteria. But Maddie specifically brought up that this build for stats isn't right, and that's why I brought up the injury, because the build was
and I
going
get that.
until the injury screwed it up. That's all I'm saying.
Right, no, and I get that, but then why does it have to be for the title?
Right, I agree.
I will say this. I really hope they're not fixing to put the title back on Jade, because I feel like Statlander's really getting going now. With I really liked her good look this last. What was it? All Out. She wore the.
Don't go ahead, Randy.
Yeah.
Zoolander.
I still think Jade's a little. I've never really liked her either. I still think she's a little too green. I really hope that since she's been out, she's been progressing her wrestling training. Hopefully,
Cody's in the Fed now, so I don't know.
Who?
We know Bryan Danielson has been holding her hand every day that they're in the ring. I mean, I can't see her having a better person to roll around with.
Yep.
Well, Jay's just like her first match ever was in AEW, like ever.
Yeah.
Right.
But I like Statlander's one a lot better because it's just not 5-minute squash matches. At least Statlander's doing more than squash matches. I mean, her match against Tal Valkyrie was one of my favorites.
But
what's that?
But let me ask you though, Connor. But I agree with you about I'm more of a Statlander fan than I am a Jade fan. But from a business standpoint, who sells more?
Jade.
I really don't know who sells more because they both don't. So
But Jade does.
It's definitely Jade. 100% it's Jade.
I would rock a Jade shirt.
The belt back on Jade, and then we go back to squash matches.
I agree with you. I agree with you,
Justin.
So here's my opinion on Jade. I don't think you guys have to worry about Jade going to win the TBS title because I don't think Jade's going backwards. She might win a title, but I don't think she's not going backwards to a title. She's going for that main title, whether we're ready for it or not.
Yep.
And do you know what? I'm here for it. And when we're talking about costume design, her Chitara kicked ass.
I really
Her
think
She-Hulk kicked ass.
I really think that Jade needs to be in some feuds without a title to build her up for the world, like the women's world title, because I really don't think that she's ready for. I think she needs some solid feuds for going for another title. I don't know.
So if we have the match against Stat, I think the best way we can walk away clean is somebody else comes out to take down Jade and gives Jade the L, which makes Stat that much bigger as an opponent for Jade. Then Jade has another feud, go to a couple feuds, and then start moving back. Now we have the history of Jade's never beat Stat.
I really want to see Athena be the one to beat Statlander. I don't think they've ever went against each other. They might have. I can't recall if they have or not, but her work in Ring of Honor is really, really, really good. That's one of the reasons I don't want Jade to win, because Athena and Chris Statlander will probably put on a good feud and match. So I'd like to see Athena as the next TBS champion.
I'm in for it.
Yep. Not a fan.
We spoke more about this match or these women than we did most of the show. Look at this. This is two people I want to talk about, though. Hetty and Claudio, again, let's go. Give it to me every week. I don't care. Now we have a New Japan title and the ROH title, both being on the line. Justin, how do you feel? Where's these titles going?
So I think Eddie's. I mean, they're finally going to let Eddie win. They're going to do it in his hometown. He also, I mean, if it's title for title, you're also probably not going to have him lose another company's title. So you're probably just switching the ROH title Eddie, which that guy deserves it.
Yep.
And I got no better place to do it than in his hometown in their biggest quote unquote TV event of the year. That's how it's usually billed. Yeah, it should be really good. I'm really happy, especially if Eddie does get the win.
I'm actually really surprised. I'm surprised that they've kept the ROH championship on Claudio this long. He's a great wrestler. I don't think he's a great character, so to speak. He's not great on the mic. But again, he's a wrestler's wrestler, so I get that. And I'm just actually impressed that they've kept him on him, even though he's deep in the storylines on AEW. I just feel like someone should be a dedicated champion and just be an ROH champion. Maybe show his face once in a while on AEW, but I just don't think it looks great for an organization when you have all your champions really the stars of another show. I like the bit of crossover, but I think they need a little more dedicated.
Yep. But saying that,
I don't know what you guys think on that.
Yep.
No, I agree.
I definitely agree. The funny thing about Claudio is I've tuned into his up, down, down, or what was the team called, Breezy?
Left, right.
Yes. Left, right, star, Game Genie, Super Mario Infinite Lives. Yeah. So
Contra Code, yeah.
When they were doing it and he was playing video games, I thought he had so much charisma. He was doing dad jokes. He was getting people to pop, and it was all about getting the boys to pop. I know he has the charisma in him to make it come through on TV. I just haven't seen it yet, so I agree completely with you. As a character, he is the true blue wrestler, and we like that guy. But when we look at somebody who's a true blue wrestler who is showing all character, we can look at Roddy Strong and how he's taken a character for the first time in his career that's so off-putting that I can't stop watching. So looking at the comparison there, we're going to move to the part of the show where we get a little Mexican. We're going down to California. Whoa. We're going in the barrios. It's, oh my God, is that Dario? Is that, oh my God, we're back in Lucha Underground all of a sudden, and here we go. Guns up. The boys are back in town.
Finally.
The boys are back in town. The Bullet Club Gold. Guns up. And
best intro in the business, Dusty.
I'll agree. I'm going to say when you had the two guns, it was awesome. When you add the back and you get Juice, I'm into it. Everything Juice does, he doesn't even do anything, and I'm into it.
Can I say they got me with the okie doke with the intro with the cardboard cutout? I thought Jay was actually there, and I was like, "Damn it, you bastards! You play with my heart and my emotions." I thought that was him through the smoke, but then it was just a cardboard cutout, which I also love.
The match is we're getting a bunch of our Lucha Underground boys minus Gravity. We saw Metal Leak on the graphic and Jay White, but both of them, I don't know what happened. Maybe someone
Jay
can
White had a
enlighten
personal
me.
issue.
Personal issues.
Yeah.
Sand in the vagina. Either
Maybe,
way, we
yeah,
got
Jay
the
White.
Bullet Club Gold versus Aerostar, Dios del Inframundo. I got the name right. God of the Dead and Gravity, who is Justin's favorite worker in the entire AEW roster.
Huge fan.
What I loved is these characters. We saw them recently in Smash. Chops, were you at that show?
No, I missed that one. Yeah.
It was Tay versus Drago, Dios del Inframundo, and Aerostar versus Tay. Best part of it is my son's in front challenging Monsieur Dubois, and Dubois has a glass of beer and he's teasing that he's going to throw it on my son, and my son gets in his face and says, "Don't you dare," and he throws it right at his pants in this big puddle. Dead. I loved it. However, the Lucha Boys is where it's at. I really enjoy these guys. But we have enough Spanish people in AEW to educate our Lucha Warriors that they're not doing AAA. We tag.
Thank God.
We tag here. 3 moments to go to Drago when he just came in the ring, looked around, the ref was like, "Get out of the ring," and they do a spot and then he gets out of the ring. And I mean, it's fair. It's their first time. They have a small star quality to bring to the table. But that really took me out of the moment heavily, especially when you got the Bullet Club Gold looking so smooth. I don't know how anybody else felt about it. I saw one spot where Aerostar just walked in the ring and is trying to call a spot with Gravity, and there was no tag, and the ref says there's no tag, but Aerostar stayed in the ring, and I was like, "You're killing me here. You're killing me."
Yeah, all that happens that hard, I guess.
It's a little different, and when you watch a AAA pay-per-view, you get confused as hell as it is.
JR mentioned it a couple times.
Oh, JR was having a mini stroke there. His leg was flaring up at this one. I could feel it in myself. We continue the Lucha Underground spotlight with a match I know we've seen on Lucha Underground. Angelico and Phoenix.
I want to say that I think Aerostar stayed in the ring because he watched Dennis Rodman do it on the pre-show. And he probably thought it was okay.
When you're Dennis Rodman, it's okay.
Yeah.
In Chicago, championship rings, Aerostar, no.
Okay.
But Phoenix and Angelico, more Lucha Underground, still loving it, still waiting for Giant Matanza to show up. I don't know if he's busy.
I wonder who that
Jeff Cobb, yeah?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
Jeff Cobb. Which I kind of liked him as Dario's brother. It was fun. I loved Lucha Underground, so I'm here for it. My kid is a huge Lucha mark, so anytime there's Lucha on, he doesn't care. He's not watching for the tags, so it hits some audience. One thing that they did a little cool is there was a lot of promo work done in this episode. You got Lana coming out talking up Miro's storyline, okay? You got the build for Keith Lee, for you Colliders, I'm coming, it's a real collision, whatever. You got the Righteous, you got Big Bill. All of them coming on for a quick promo to push their story arc. I like the way this was done throughout the show. It kind of gave you a quick snip, but not too much for in-ring. The important one for me was the FTR one, which really got me hot. I really enjoyed it because they basically opened up a challenge in which anyone can challenge. What are the predictions? Who are they going to be challenging?
Well, I guarantee you it's going to be someone who probably lost the match before they get a shot.
They already announced the match.
Yeah, Iron Savages. But that's who it is.
If it ain't Bear Country, I don't want it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't believe it. We've seen it too many times. Give me Halal Beefcake.
Well-oiled machines.
Yo, but for real, the Bear guy is massive, and they could make him like a solo act, give him a manager, give him the right gimmick. That guy has something, but I don't like the team altogether either.
Can someone tell me why every champion is now doing open challenges?
John Cena made it popular back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, no one's getting the Cena rub out of these ones.
That's for
That's
sure.
John Cena. That's John Cena too. John Cena can do anything.
John
Well,
Cena
it's also
can do it.
football season, Uri, so TK doesn't have as much time as he normally does.
Ooh.
That's true. That's true.
How did the Jags do this weekend?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
They,
I'm going to message TK and ask.
Speaking of TK, there's something I really want to sneak in real quick.
Yeah,
That
bring
Texas
it.
Chainsaw Massacre match. I heard this week that was TK as Leatherface.
So
It was.
I've heard conflictions. The serial killer from BTE that kept tying people up was him, but then the following week he was an extra, and then a week later I got the TK. I wonder where it actually goes, but in Drummond's mind, it was Leatherface.
Somebody also said it was Joey Janela.
We would have
As long-
seen it. We would have
as long
joked
as it
on the
wasn't-
Titantron.
As long as it wasn't Joey Ryan, we're good.
Oh,
Canceled.
If AEW ever re-signs Joey Janela, he should do his Florida man gimmick.
yes.
Yep.
We go back to the World Eliminator Challenge semi. You got Darby versus Strong, and definitely overproduced. A lot going on in this match. I like when they overproduce, but when they do it, they have multiple stories building off of it.
Yep.
And this is one of those moments, and there's a lot of moments where it's not that, but I felt it here, and that got me very excited. Obviously, we see the right man win this match, and this is where we could have seen Nick Wayne lose this match, and it makes perfect sense. So I really like what you said there, Uri, on that, because I think Nick Wayne could have used the Darby rub more than Darby just getting a W to go lose to Strong.
Thank you.
I think it would even have more impact. The other match being Joe and Penta. He's not breaking arms in Lucha Underground, but he's here in AEW taking the L. So that leads us for a Joe Strong finish. Now, when I think about it, I'm like, these are literally the two guys that could be in this. Does anybody know which way they're going to go?
Either way,
Nope,
it
I like
works. I like both of them, and I'm into it either way. I could see if you're gonna take the belt off Max, why not have Roddy do it, and then you could still have Adam beat Roddy for the belt. You could have them in a three-way. I mean, they're all everything Roddy's doing right now. Why not reward him? But at the same time, it's not a pay-per-view; it's a Grand Slam, so you could go Joe too because more.
Well, here's what I think. There's 2 shows coming up in the next 3 weeks. I think you have Roddy win and face MJF at Grand Slam and lose. And then Joe faces MJF at the pay-per-view.
Here's what I think. I think they both go over the top rope at the same time, and then next week we do a coin flip. And whoever wins the coin flip goes to Grand Slam, the other one goes to Wrestle Dream, or vice versa. I'm almost positive I've seen that before, but I could be wrong.
It's never happened in wrestling.
No,
So-
I don't. I feel like I would have seen it maybe about 30 years ago, but I could be wrong.
The other thing is,
About a guy
history
named-
never repeats itself.
Yes,
Definitely not in '94.
Yeah.
in the end of all the AEW we just went through, there's a lot of good stuff that we are looking forward to. There's a lot of questionable stuff, and we'll always question it because that's what we do. We're here on this podcast to have fun. We want to talk about it. We want to argue. We want to disagree, and we want polarizations. As we walk away from the AEW side of things, I do want to walk into Impact. Only reason, because we're coming up to a huge milestone on Thursday. It will be after this airs. I'm excited for the show because I feel Anthem does it right. Like with the last Slammiversary, I feel like this episode's going to be a lot of fun. We get the Dudleys back together. I'm excited for it. But I did want to talk about this pay-per-view because this brings up my banger of the week. First, we'll go through the quick card. Couple really good things that you guys should have checked out is Crazy Steve is doing something else.
Yep, I agree.
He's gonna have no paint no more. No paint no more.
He's
Creepy
killing
ass
it.
mask. That mask is creepy as hell. The guy's blind as it is, comes to the ring in a completely covered mask, opens from the mouth, and he births himself. It's twisted. It's nice. The in-ring of this match was cool because at one point, Crazy Steve is pleading with Taurus to just give him a break. He can't take anymore, just to give him the possum treatment. I'm enjoying what Steve's doing. I loved hearing his documentary and then following that up with a back-to-back Cody Deaner Wrestling is Life podcast. It really got me into it. I'm very excited because we will be seeing Steve, some of us, on Saturday, which will be the day of this release at Neo down here in the Falls. Great card. We can get to it. One thing happened. Maddie, you talked about the ECW guys. Does anybody really have the tank when we were doing the Jungle Boy stuff?
Mhm.
Tommy Dreamer won a title.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm not very happy about that.
Hooray, explain Impact to me. Why is Tommy Dreamer winning the Digital Media Championship from Kenny King? Why?
He's got the pencil.
So I feel like
His mom died.
That could be it too. So I
And his
feel
mom
like
died.
I feel like his mom died, Terry Funk died, and it's in his hometown. So I feel like that they wanted like a feel good moment for the crowd and for Tommy. Regardless of that, don't think that was it. Nothing against Tommy. I'm a big Tommy Dreamer fan, always have been, but he's 52 years old. I get that he didn't win clean, but you just killed Kenny's momentum.
Yeah. And I felt that. I felt the murder there. You get it, Chops.
Yeah.
When,
Is that title really called the
Yes.
Digital Media
Yes.
Championship?
Yeah.
That's probably
Yeah.
the worst name I've ever heard of a title. Next to the Television Championship. I think those are brutal titles.
What about the Legends title or the King of the
Oh,
Mountain title?
24/7, anything like that it's brutal. I don't even know why they call it Television Championship. It's brutal.
Hardcore is still the greatest title of all time. So
I can answer Matt's question. It's because it's defended on television. The World Championship is supposed to be the belt that's saved for pay-per-views and for special occasions, although we don't do that anymore. And the TV title was supposed to be the one you got on television every week. That's
and
what a
it's
TV
kind of
title is.
named the Digital Media Championship, so it's the championship for the
Yeah,
digital media.
Yeah, you might as well just call it the YouTube champion.
I think there
I'm
is a
saying TV
YouTube
belts in
champion.
general.
I'm waiting when Dark was a thing. I thought AEW was going to come out with a YouTube title.
I'd be all right with it. It doesn't make sense. I mean, we've seen a shooting the Indies title. I mean, we've seen some titles, boys.
But yeah, no, I don't think Dreamer should have won it. He doesn't need it. If anyone should have won it, I think Kenny should have retained, and they should have given it to Heath since he's the one interfering in his matches.
And
Or
we'll be talking
or
about
Johnny Swinger. Or Johnny. They could have given it to Johnny Swinger 2 weeks ago.
But then how long is he going to have it, though?
The thing is,
2 weeks?
I feel like Swinger was more over in Toronto than Dreamer was in New York.
And I'm going to get to the crowds for this pay-per-view because we were there. We saw, I mean, most of the time you heard Chops. But,
He definitely did.
oh, yes, Chops has the walking weapon voice for every single show. I don't know why this is boring you, Connor, because we have an amazing women's match next. We go to my favorite female athlete in wrestling, Jordan Grace making her return. Shout out to Matt Hensher against Diana Perazzo. This was a damn good match. We've seen it before, but to come out this way, I liked it. I want Jordan Grace to forever get the title and don't ever lose it. I want a Jordan Grace versus Trinity. It's a match I'll care about more than the other match on this card that Trinity faced Eddie Edwards' girlfriend.
They're going to do that at Bound for Glory, Dusty.
And I'm here for it, and I'll be watching.
Me too. I'm here for Joey Ya.
We're all here for
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the greatest tag team in wrestling today, and if you're not on the Joya train, you're missing.
Yeah.
PCO, Matt,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about this. Do you know who
Oh my
PCO is? I'm happy because I knew you wouldn't. Do you remember the Quebecers? Do you remember the Quebecers in WWF?
Yeah.
Pierre-Carl Ouellette decided to go with a gimmick where he's a Frankenstein monster, completely jacked to shit, and comes back to wrestling. And it started on the Indies. It was hot on the Indies.
It started in Ring of Honor.
Was it Ring? No, is that the start? Because I thought it was a spring break weekend, a Mania weekend.
When he came back, he was still a Quebecer. He was wearing his Quebecers gear.
All right. So it's Ring of Honor, but he's a Frankenstein monster that can't be killed. So this builds up another ECW who can still go, Bully Ray. Bully Ray has been torturing this man, setting him on fire, knowing that he's Chris Jericho's age, actually a couple more years on top of that. And the guy is taking bumps he shouldn't be. Absolutely getting destroyed. And we're here for it. Yeah. Bully Ray running away saying, I can't kill him. Oh my God. I was dying the whole match.
I like when he said he wanted
table. We'll send you some video of him, and you'll see why there's love for PCO. One of the greatest Canadians wrestlers in the show right now. Man.
Can you throw in one of his matches when he was the Pirate?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love the shout out.
Why? I didn't like the finish of that match.
Why?
Well, they had to call an audible, and I get that. But I feel like they could have done a better finish.
Yeah, I just need more tables.
But the finish was he literally just threw Bully Ray into a table in the corner.
Yeah. It was a deadly throw from a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah. You couldn't have speared him through the table. Couldn't have powerbombed him through the table. No, I'm just going to throw you. I'm just going to give you an Irish whip, and you're going to go to the table. That's it.
It did the job. And in the end, PCO gets the W.
It did something.
Banger of the week. Chops, pull that shirt up. The Walking Weapon versus Steve Macklin. I watched through the Fed. I watched through AEW. And I will say, this is a pay-per-view main event match, so it better be the best match of the week. It delivered. We've been waiting for this. We've been wanting this match. Injuries kept pushing us away from this match. And man, did it deliver. Chops, can you tell me about the match?
I actually didn't even see it yet.
I'm
too busy.
And that's fair. You literally just traveled from one side of Canada to the other. Bigger stretch than all of the states. That type of distance deserves a break on this as one of the biggest Walking Weapon fans. What I really loved is at one point, the crowd, a couple people started going for Macklin, and the Walking Weapon chants started. Nowhere near as loud as Chops in Toronto, but New York got the message. Loud. I was so proud. And seeing Josh in this element, I was all right with it. Get the W, get back on the page to get back your title. Machine Guns, yeah, you lost to Rascals. They retained the titles, but I still don't believe you as a champion. I want them to go heel so I can believe in it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Just give the belt back.
You don't believe in Alex Shelley as the world champion?
I don't. I'm sorry. I've been trying and I'm trying. And
Yeah.
Why?
He's had it 3 months too long. And just so nobody's getting confused, because they did two pay-per-views within a span of 2 weeks. The Toronto show we keep alluding to was Emergence. The New York show was Victory Road.
Thank you. Is Emergence a pay-per-view or was that something?
Impact Plus.
Okay.
They were both Impact Plus, but they're pay-per-view because they're on Fight.
Definitely something I want people to look back on and go check out. Macklin versus Josh Alexander. I mentioned we're going to go visit Neo. It's a Niagara Falls promotion, put out some, if not most of the Canadian content in Impact and in AEW. We could list off the people, but we'll do that on another date. They have a show where you're going to see everybody from Heath Slater to the greatest, Jesse Bieber, Daddy Davis, Crazy Steve, Cody Diener. Down here in the Falls, definitely something I'm bringing the whole family to.
The Italianos.
Italiano. A chance.
Look at here.
Oh, give it to the king. Long live the king, Tiberius King. Shout out.
I really dig the name of the show.
Yes.
A steel chair named Desire. I dig that.
It is. It's pretty
very
brilliant.
Progress-esque, if I should say so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their chapters. I like it too.
And they've done a lot with that. The Ides of March are always fun. They've always had some fun creative when they're making their posters between Mama Bear, Stella, and Jesse. They always put on a good show, so we're excited to see that. Tank, what do you got going on this weekend?
This weekend, Friday night in Woodbridge, there's a comedy show at the Roxy. Luke Lindale is headlining, and Lenny the Butcher is hosting. That's going to be a lot of fun. Saturday night, I'm performing hip-hop at Teal Lounge, Toronto Parkdale, doing the Tank Dix thing with Binge Ninja, Blackout Orchestra, Barrett Cressman, and Thundercrap. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You got a busy weekend. It sounds beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Justin, you'll be at Neo, am I assuming?
Yep, I'm also going to be performing at a karaoke bar that's sitting near you. And
He ain't lying.
Also at Neo, Drummond's Uncle Pat will be signing autographs.
my Uncle Pat will be there, so if you want to say hi to him, you can sit in a seat beside me and I'll switch with you.
It sounds like a plan. Maddie, what do you got going on for the weekend?
Nothing yet. No big plans. No big plans. I'm sure I'll find something to do, but no, I'm just holding down the fort so far. Nothing. No comedy shows or hip hop shows for me, I guess, this week.
Jump
What
to
about
mine.
wrestling shows?
Yeah, come on down to Niagara Falls. We'll show you a show.
What is that Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday day or Saturday night?
Well, in the evening.
Saturday night. Yeah.
Nice.
Like 7 o'clock, I think it starts.
Yeah. And where is it at?
It's across the street from the convention center at a little hall. Always packs it out. Always a fun time. Connor, what do you got going on this week?
What do I have going on this weekend?
Any shows we can plug through the AE zone?
As far as on here, we have one interview coming up person October 4th. Former TNA star, WWE star, The Pope, Elijah Burke, and WWE.
Oh my God!
Will be on.
I was
here.
a big Elijah Burke guy.
I might be in for that.
Yeah, he'll be on October 4th, Wednesday. As far as me going to shows, I'll be going to there's an independent show that Championship Wrestling from Memphis. They're bringing.
Oh
No.
Oh, we're talking, Connor. We're done. We're done. Connor, take the stage. Who's on that card? Give me some names.
Hell yeah.
They're bringing 4 known names: Gangrel, Crazy Steve. Who else? There was someone from MLW. I don't know who it is. There was someone else. I know Gangrel and Crazy Steve were the two main ones. I think they're going to be going against each other, doing something. Crazy Steve and Gangrel.
Oh my god.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I'm excited for you. We actually watch a lot of the championship froms over here.
Yeah.
I think it was the Fight app was dropping the
Yeah.
championship from Hollywoods and
I
all
used to
the
watch those
different
all the time.
ones. I couldn't help but jumping on anything that was championship from.
I've been going to quite a few. I've been to everyone, but I've been to quite a few. I went when they had Lance Archer. They brought Brian Cage and George Nella one time. Yeah, I go there if I go to any independent shows.
I love it. I love it. I'm excited for you, and make sure you put pictures in the group. Chops, you've already discussed your journey. You're going to have a heavy weekend as well.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. What is your tag on Insta? Where would you want people to check out your journey?
Ringside with Chops, Instagram. If you want to know what I just do, the adventures and craziness and all that ensues on like awesome witty commentary that people enjoy. Ringside with Chops.
My favorite thing about Ringside with Chops is some of the best indie guys immediately steal his stories and post them as theirs with, of course, credit due to Chops.
Yeah.
As Tarek is
Hey,
one of your
I'm
biggest
coming
fans.
for Tarek. I'm coming for him. He's going to owe me big time.
Yes. Get him. We'll be seeing Tarek at Neo. There is a couple more that I want to check out in October. I know Millennial World Organization, Wrestling Organization in Welland has Niagara's pop star Jesse Bieber versus Tarek. And then they go again, I believe, like 2 weeks later, if not a week later, in Hamilton at the Germania Club.
Yeah, Germania.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want to see one of them. Welland's closer, but I might sneak in for both. We'll see what happens there. Breezy, talk to me.
This weekend. So after last weekend, watching my Dallas Cowboys absolutely donkey punch the Giants, we'll see if there's any team in the NFL that could actually score on us. So the Jets will give it a go this week, minus an Achilles missing Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
But other than that, I'm trying to get to that Neo show with you guys. We'll see how it shakes out. Depends how late your boy is out on Friday night, but
Of course.
Well-
Tank, can you give me your Instas?
Yeah, it's just at Tank Diggs, nice and simple, baby.
Okay, Tank Diggs. Maddie, what is your
Yeah.
plug for your miniatures? It's good shit, man. I love creativity, and I'm a man-child, and I want to see that stuff.
Yup.
Yeah, so I've got so that's my Star Wars figure art, which is my the Star Wars the figure photography that I do, and also if you guys are into house music at all, I've got I'm on SoundCloud, which is a DJ Mac Racy as well, which has been it's been a little while. I took a little bit of a break, but I DJed for 20 years.
I love it. I love learning more about our boys. That's awesome. Urai, I'm going to plug for you. Check him out at Hot Ass at OnlyFans. His content is next level. Urai puts on a show. Check him out.
Uri, the OnlyFans guy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Drummond is dead right now. And
let's
with that,
go, Peggy.
That's his only subscriber.
Let's go, Peggy.
Oh, I love Peggy.
Hey, bro,
And
if
with
I
that,
really
that
tried,
is-
I'd probably be a top. I'd probably be a top. What are they called? Like the top.
You're a
performers or
top
whatever.
10%er.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
I'm a
Oh
hub
my
guy.
god.
And with that, that's the dusty finish.
I'm still waiting to do Jerry's final thoughts.
Oh, I'd like to.